Hi everyone, how are you doing? Let me see on my phone if I am live and it's working. Network is an issue on this side of the world, although I want to ask if, let me see, 1 second. Yes, I can see. I also wanted to do something. Do I in? Hi, Zurai. How are you? I was actually asking a question, okay? I'm glad that you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My question was, have you tried Starlink, Elon Musk's internet connection situation? Hi, Zurai. Let me know if you can hear me and see me as well, okay? So I was asking about Starlink, if anybody has tried that thing, because Wi-Fi internet is a problem. CD, CDW came in hot. He said, F Trump. The only good thing is that he might stop funding NATO. Zurai, thank you for saying you can hear me and see me. So I was asking Starlink about Starlink. If anybody watching has tried it. If you've tried it, please let me know because I'm really considering investing in that because Wi-Fi internet, especially when you want to live stream, is such a hustle. Like it keeps disconnecting. I pause, I break down, and it's just not fun. So yeah. Hi Quincy, greetings from Washington State. Also, you're in Washington. Are you celebrating Trump's win or are you crying? Let me know. That's what I said. Never tried, but I hear it's really good. Really? Like, because I heard, what do you call it? Mixed reviews, especially here. You see, where did I hear this from? Oh, maybe not. I heard in Nigeria, so it might not be. Yeah, it might not be the same. I might need to find people here to share their experience because I heard someone complain about it, and I'm like, okay, I wouldn't want to get it and then complain, but yeah, said it's really good. Quincy said we are celebrating. Okay, okay. Hi Wesley. You're also from the US. If you are, how is it going? Are you happy that Donald Trump won, or are you sad? Because I saw the stat, and I saw about 70% of Black men voted for Harris, and I believe 80 something percent Black women voted for Harris. So it looks like the Black community showed up for Kamala Harris. It's just, she didn't have the numbers because majority of the people are white. I'm guessing that's why he won. Raymond said, grace and peace. Hello. Helen said, I'm from the USA and I'm crying. I cannot believe this disappointing. Really, Helen? And your name sounds either Ethiopian or Eritrean, Helen Abara. I'm really curious to hear, why are you crying? Like, I want to know because there's so many different perspectives, so many conflicting, comments from both sides, and I completely understand. That's part of politics. You vote for who you believe in, and sometimes the people that you believe in and you vote for them and they disappoint you. We've seen it so many times. So I'm really curious to hear, Helen, because you're living in the USA, why you are disappointed. Like, I want to hear your perspective, the reason why you wanted her to win and not him. By her, I mean Kamala. Chibuze said, hello, Angel. Hi. Wesley, some Kenyans have started thinking that Ruto is in panic mode. Well, not just Ruto. I hear a lot of politicians that, were counting on the Biden administration, with the Democrats, of course. Like, there were a lot of deals coming through, with the administration change. There's a lot that changes. Trump can just come in and say, I don't want this. Like, let's change this. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna fund this. I'm not. So yeah, I can only I can understand. I can understand why some leaders will be shaking in their boots right now. Zurai said, I'm only glad Trump won because Democrats kept demonizing black men. Unfortunately, yeah. But my thing is, well, I'll save that for later. I'll save that for later. Um, Roy said a Trump victory is a win for Africa since he's not going to meddle much in Africa's affairs. That's one of those things that I want to have a conversation about today, because this is not his first term, right? Trump, this is going to be his second term. The first Trump, he's literally shown us what he's going to do. Like we know what he has done. He didn't really focus, especially when it comes to African countries and this, let's say, human rights violations that they keep labeling a lot of African countries and giving the name. He literally, like, he didn't care for African countries enough to meddle in. And uh, as much as people were making noise and saying, why is he not giving a priority or focusing on Africa? His focus is elsewhere. I was not mad at that, to be honest, because with focus comes meddling. With focus comes, I want this, I want that, I want you to do this for me. And we've seen it. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. The people that are here that probably supported Kamala, she's under the Biden administration, and the Biden administration banned so many people. They have, especially in Uganda. Do you remember when the Uganda MPs, lawmakers, made that decision to, that the topic that we're not allowed to talk about? When they did that, a lot of the officials were banned, even like they were no longer allowed to go to the US. And countries have were being threatened, like Ghana and Nigeria or even Uganda, for the decisions that they were making. We all know, like, what kind of meddling there was and how they want to push their culture and principles down our throats. Like, that was really evident. But Trump, literally, as he told us, he thinks we're shithole countries. So he genuinely didn't show a lot of care. Although I think, if for those of you, if you're here in Ethiopia and you remember, he was talking about bombing Nile Dam with the Egypt. No, he was not. I think he was talking to Sudanese representative, but in the White House. I covered that story when it first happened. So yeah, we get into that. But I know what you mean, Roy, when you say not Roy. Is it Roy that said that? Yeah, Roy. When you say he won't meddle in Africa affairs much, because we've seen it. Like, this is not his first time, so we've seen how much. And also, the Republican, at least what they tell the world, is that they will no longer be funding a lot of these foreign wars, and they won't be sending money and sending their troops. Which, thank you. I hope they do it swiftly. We want all their troops to leave the continent of Africa, because of all the immunity that they get and all the accusations that their troops have been facing. Good riddance. Like, if he wants to take their troops out of Africa, yeah, that's another topic I wanted to talk about. Like, what does it mean in regards to military cooperation between the US and African countries? Um, Junine said, as long as Trump leaves Africa alone, I could care less on him winning. I share your sentiment. Helen said, "Yes, I am Ethiopian. This guy is a bigot." Oh, I don't know if I can say those words. YouTube. So, anti-black and just a horrible human. Most importantly, he is a liar. Helen. Well, Helen, a lot of our politicians are liars, and I wish, and I always say this, I wish there was like a lie detector test, like they have to take before they get in. All the promises they make, like, do they mean it? Are they really going to do it? Okay, Helen, thank you for explaining why you didn't want him. So I'm guessing you voted against him. Brian, please, Africa, don't do business with the West. CD said he's going to have unchecked power now, unlike his first term. Really, CD? I'm interested to know, why do you think this time around he will have unchecked power? Because this is not his first term, right? Why do you think that, as opposed to when he was a president last time? I'm interested. Huh? Oh, I think it's saying Indamin Amashesh, yeah, which means, for those of you that don't speak Amharic, it's like How's your evening? Is that right, Mickey? How's your evening? I think something like that. It's good. It has been good. Hope yours was good as well. Raymond said, all US politicians are liars. I will change that, Raymond, and say all. Okay, I don't want, sometimes they're good in there. So most politicians are liars. Julian said, my mother was surprised that he won and thought Kamala would win. If Hillary couldn't win against him, a white woman, it makes no sense that Kamala, a black woman, would win against him. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I heard a lot of people saying, like, America's not ready for a white president. Sorry, not a white, a woman president. And how accurate is that, though? I'm curious because I get it in, like, in a lot of the world, like outside of maybe the Western world, women are still fighting for rights and women are still trying to have like equal opportunity and stuff. So I thought in the US, this won't be a big problem or an issue just because she's a woman. You know what I mean? Because they claim that they're advanced, they're equal, they're blah 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 blah. So yeah, I'm really, yeah, I'm really surprised that they wouldn't want a woman president. Like, Helen said he's unpredictable. Yeah, and that's why a lot of people don't like him, I've noticed, because when you're unpredictable and you can't be tamed, it's scary. This has positive and negative to it. Positive, let me start from the positive. The positive is that, if someone wants to control him and wants to tell him what to do exactly, like if he doesn't believe in it, he might not do it because he's just like unpredictable. But the negative part is he might commit to something and not do it, right? Yeah. So, yeah, because most of these politicians are predictable, and that's why they're puppets. That's why it's very easy to pay them to buy their votes, buy their loyalty. And yeah, could be a positive and a negative thing to be that way. Um, Ira Bin said, America is a business, Trump is a businessman, let him work. Yeah, he's focused from what we've seen and, in the past, although during like I've heard, I don't know how accurate it is, maybe like if there are Americans here, correct me. Some of his businesses, he inflated them or lied or something like that, right? But it's very clear that he's a businessman, and it seems like from the past as well as what he's been saying, his focus will be like Africa, no, not Africa, America first kind of rule, which, me, as long as he forgets about Africa and stops meddling in Africa and stops telling us what to do and stops the military cooperation and help they're giving us, the aid that they're giving us, as long as they cut that umbilical cord. Yeah, but for my American, brothers and sisters, of course, we want the best for you, and we hope that he also does the right thing towards his own people. Quincy said she wasn't running a campaign. It was more like Coachella family. We black men are so over her and all that cackling. I've been hearing about the cackling. She can laugh. Yeah, I've seen the cackling you're referring to. A beautiful woman for sure. But also, yeah, during the campaign, as an outsider, not speaking for you, but as an outsider, it seemed like the focus was like pushing celebrities to get votes, and people that are famous and wealthy already, and it's just out of touch, I would say, because people want to hear from the working class. People want to hear, because majority of the people, that I think the Democrats forgot, that majority of the people are average people. You can't use this top 1% to persuade them. Like, they already know what kind of life they're living. They want to be promised that they can work and get money and live and eat. Like, the this election, to be honest, has taught me as an outsider looking in that the world is like very similar, because the arguments I've been hearing from Americans is that, like, they just want the normal things. Even us Africans, the people that were fighting to just like elect the right person, right, or have a government that cares for us and serves us, what we're talking about, like, that they're just asking for is, am I going to be able to work? am I going to be able to feed my family? That unnecessary stuff of pushing an agenda or pushing that you ideology, we know the ideologies the other side has, and like the average American doesn't want that. They just want a normal life that they can just feed their family and wake up and go to work. Like I was like, wow, it's like, because you see, when you think about America, you're thinking they're fighting for um I'm trying to say things without really, tipping the algorithm. It just made us look at the American voters and see ourselves in them. I guess that's what I can say in that regard, because I was seeing a lot of the campaign on Trump's side is like, we'll we're gonna make sure that you live in a country where you're free to make your decisions, blah 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 blah. And they're like, yay! I would have thought they would say, no, we want, gay rights, and we want to, to change our kids' genders. That kind of argument is what I was expecting. But yeah, anyways, again, you guys are living in it, so you know better. Um, So Chibuze said, I have a feeling that Trump will enforce the exploitation of Africa with brute force. I hope not, though. He meddles in Africa. Take a look at the dam dispute. I hope I'm wrong on this. Yes, yes. I mentioned about the dam, the Ethiopian GERD, the Great Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. He was so for Egypt, if you remember, and he was even insinuating that Egypt should the dam and stuff. Definitely. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, it's during his administration that Ethiopia and I don't know if Uganda was years ago, so I'm forgetting, but AGOA, the agreement that America, the US has with African countries, Ethiopia was kicked out because Ethiopia wouldn't bow down to what America was asking Ethiopia to do. Of course, there was meddling even in during Trump's administration, but if you compare it with the Biden administration, I mean, yeah. But yeah, I hear your point in that regard. Um, But you said exploitation, but exploitation of Africa is mostly everyone. Everyone exploits Africa as long as we let them. And I think it's about time that we take charge and say no to that. Like, we have to know that we have the power. And a lot of African countries in the recent years have shown us that the power is with the people. And when we get together and stand up and say no, they listen to us, because there's power in unity and like in number. The more you are, the more people come together. CDW said he wants to defund the educational system. He wants to give police legal immunity to keep unaliving us. He's going to fund Israel even more and wipe out. You know, I heard what you said. I'm trying to avoid, but I can say it, Palestine. So yeah, he made it very clear that he is, even the first person to congratulate him is the president of Israel, like the prime minister, Netanyahu. So I mean, I hear you. I hear you in that, but the defund the education system, I'll have to look into it. I don't know much. I was really focused on like the foreign policies that he had against maybe Kamala's, if she won, administration, like their agenda is what I was focused on. But yeah, he's trying to defund educational system. I didn't know that. He wants to give police legal immunity. May God protect you, because it's already very hard for Black men and women. I've covered so many stories. I know how unfair it is, especially when it comes to law enforcement and how they deal with Black people there. Roy said that Kenyan president isn't gonna sleep well. I hope he didn't squander all the Haiti funds. I tell you, I believe a lot of leaders right now are shaking in their boots. Starlink. Ooh, Doniero said Starlink is not good. Really? Where did you try it? Which country did you try it in? And like, why do you say it's not good? Was the connection weak? Was it the price? Was it not worth the price? Please let me know, because I was genuinely considering Starlink. Hmm. Mikey said, U.S. Republican Party fought for freedom of slaves in America. Yeah, I was seeing that. I was seeing that part of history. To be honest, it's been hidden for a while. Genuinely thought it was the Democrats that were fighting for freedom of slaves. Honestly, that's what I thought up until recently. And I'm like, huh? That's not what I saw. So it's quite confusing, to be honest. Um, J. Sorry if I butchered your name. Actually, some Republicans, example Eric Prince, have called for Africa and South America to be recolonized by USA. Yeah, I've talked about Eric Prince before, and what a man! Like to admit publicly, that tells you what he says behind the scenes and when the doors are closed and no one can hear. So yeah, these people. That's why, by the way, I'm not jumping for joy and I'm not sad, because at the end of the day, both of these leaders, even if Kamala won, it would have, yes, in regards to foreign policy, there are differences. Like, we can't lie about that. And also, even internally, I think there will be differences, but it's not to the point where you have to lose sleep, and you believe that tomorrow everything will change. Because I've seen, even like, there's something going around on social media saying now black people will be back to being slaves because Trump has won. And I'm like, wasn't he the president just a few years ago? So, like, I don't know about that argument, to be honest. um Donnie said, F Trump, he's anti black. Jay said, also, Trump's presidency will encourage anti democratic African leadership. You think? You think so? Like, why do you think that, Jay? Like, I'm curious. Why do you think he will encourage anti democratic African leadership? Because, in my opinion, the more this Western leaders are meddling in our business, the more it's hurting us. That's what I've realized. Because back in the days when they would claim that we're standing up for human rights, and we're gonna if your government doesn't do what he's supposed to do, we're gonna come and show them, because we're saints, right? Like what they did in Libya, or what they're doing in other countries, parts of Africa, right? So I used to think, to be honest, when I was naive, I'm like, oh, okay, come and save us. But no, I don't. I genuinely, I 100% disagree with the Western world meddling, whether our leaders are being crooks or not. I think it's up to us, the people, to stand up, to get together, to say no, to show our leaders that they're there to serve us, not the other way around. And I think I 100% believe that it's up to us. When they meddle, is, I think, and that's my opinion, it makes it worse when they're meddling, because they have their own agenda. They have their own thing that they want to push. So when they're coming and saying, I'm going to help you elect the right person for your country, they literally have someone that they're thinking of to put there, so they can puppeteer him. They can use that leader, and they can take the resources they want, and they can have the foreign troops that they want in your land to do whatever they want to do. So the more you realize that when meddling, when the focus is too much in these African countries, it's not really a positive thing. And if he dislikes us enough to leave us alone and calls us shithole countries, then maybe, we can take the time to work it out within the continent. Our own issues should be solved by ourselves. Christ is come. Christ is coming now, maybe. Said peace and blessings. Hello. CDW said Trump doesn't have to focus on Africa. His cabinet still will, and he will continue to keep us oppressed. Maybe said Trump didn't push the LGBT lifestyle in Africa. We care less. We care less. Donnie said Starlink is part of the AI movement. Don't invest in anti. Really? Because what's the How is Starlink Antichrist? I don't even know about that. To be honest. There's so many things. I mean, there's so many things. But I just want a fast internet. That's all. Honestly, that's all. Mikey said, did Obama help Africa? I think contrary. Like I think he did the opposite because he literally helped, you know, um I don't know. It's a tricky one because Obama is like supposed to be half us. Yeah, honestly, if you look at it like from his foreign policy perspective, I think he let us down. I don't think he helped us, in my opinion. Crystal, I know Trump was going to win. Kamala waited too long to take stuff serious. Really? Okay, that's an interesting take. I've seen her trying, although I didn't see her on a lot of shows or the bigger shows like Trump was campaigning. Her, it's mostly like the celebrities that were backing her up. It was almost like other people were advocating for her, and those other people have huge, huge platforms. It's just I think that people got tired of just following maybe celebrities for political advice. Um, Joe just said hello, lovely Wengel, and thank you for sharing this info. Thank you for coming through. Mr. H said it's better for Africa. Chibwe said, I really doubt if Trump's win as a win is win for Africa. I hope I'm wrong. I saw the video of his statement on the dam. Trump's view on Africa should be checked cautiously. Oh yeah, like how he feels about us. The thing about Trump is he's very honest, and he's told us how he feels about us. Like it's not a secret. He doesn't care much like for us. And I'm taking that as a positive because I'm like, if you don't care much for us, you just leave us alone. And leaving us alone is what we've been asking for. Like it's the meddling that we're tired of, you know. So yeah, I don't doubt that he doesn't care much for us. Um, Wayne said, oh, he's responding to someone else. Junin Zone says Trump's first term, he put sanctions on Zimbabwe and is probably going to put another sanction on Zimbabwe again during his second term. Hope he doesn't. We'll wait and see. CD, America will not remove their troops under Trump. Stop thinking. I don't think he'll fully remove it, but if you remember during his time, he has reduced the troops significantly. Like significantly, they were reduced. Although yes, they were still there. A lot of them were withdrawn. I remember when he withdrew from Somalia. You remember that story? Like it's the truth that his focus is not Africa, and especially when it comes to the military cooperation, he's not as eager as, let's say, if you compare it to the recent one, Biden administration. Mickey said Gaddafi wasn't killed during a U.S. Republican presidency. Well, I'll never forget Hillary's answer when the journalist asked her. We went, we saw, what did she say? We analyzed as she's laughing. And I made a mistake of watching Gaddafi's when they took him down. Guys, do not see that video. Like it traumatized me. It was horrible what those people were doing to that man. Horrible, horrific. Linda said, "You're looking great, Queen." Thank you, Queen. Thank you. Kofo said, but Trump is in a Republican by philosophy. If Africa will benefit him, America will remain. Sean said, Trump doesn't care about Africans. He doesn't want you in America. He thinks Africa is, he thinks, we've covered that. That's true. That's what he thinks. Talking Charts said, if you know anything about politics, Trump is the best thing that has happened to the world today. I am African and I love Trump. Ooh, love is a huge word, my brother or sister. I live in Canada and can tell you that Democrats and liberals are bad. Love is, as I said, a strong word, but good for you. Talking charts. I am pretty sure you assessed the situation. You did your research before you supported Trump. Although I won't go as far as saying that I love him. But if I don't see, you see, some people see it as good versus evil. And for me, I see it as evil versus less evil. So which one's the lesser evil is how I think about it. Mikey said, "Good evening. Hello." Crystal said, Biden is a terrible president. He has upset American born people, taking our tax dollars to give to Ukraine and Israel. It's time for him to go. Who, let me tell you, I remember hearing about how much he was giving to Ukraine. And like, it's so shocking to watch the news, American news, and see the homelessness issue, the law enforcement issue, the education issue, all the issue that the healthcare issue. And you see your presidents like Biden taking out billions of dollars of taxpayers' money and just giving it away for war. And it's like, Jesus. Like, come on now. Internal, like, care about internal affairs. That's why, to be honest, for me, the lesser evil where it comes through is the fact that when it comes to foreign and funding troops and stuff, the Biden administration did the most. They did the most. So like we're hoping at least Trump reduces that and he just leaves us alone. That's what we're hoping for. Bale said he will have the unchecked. He will have the unchecked because the Republican Party will be controlling the government. Sean said he thinks Africa is an asshole country. He does not want Africans to immigrate to America. Not just Africans. From what I can hear, he doesn't want any immigrant. Like he's so against. Surprising, ironic how his wife is an immigrant, right? Even the vice. Am I wrong? Did I see somewhere that his vice president, even his wife, is not American? Maybe I'm wrong. Mr. H said Kamala lost because she's phony and she wasn't taken seriously. She snubbed Howard University when she lost, showed her true colors. I saw that. I saw that. That was not a good look. I wish she just went there and you know shared how she felt in that moment. Where I it disappeared. Oh yeah. Zurai said she's not black, she's Indian. Well, I've heard about that argument as well, and I saw videos that claimed, I don't know how true that is, but she was lying that, okay, no, I don't want to say this because I don't know for sure, but allegedly from the videos I watched, the pictures that she had claiming that that's her like grandma or something on in her book, the black woman is not actually her like her relative, and she was making, I don't know if she was not telling the truth. That's not nice. I mean, don't lie, but then again, politicians lie. It's not something new. I don't think it's just Kamala if that's the case. But regardless, beautiful woman. I'm gonna say that. Zurai, yeah, I just read that. Kofo said no ma'am. About what? I don't know. Mr. H said that's not true. We haven't had a qualified woman for president. Oh, I think you're referring to when I said like America, is it really true when they say America is not ready for a woman president? Because genuinely for me it's a surprise because America claims to be like this superpower that is all about equality and women have rights and stuff, and you wouldn't want your president to be a woman. Why not? That's why I was confused. But you're saying, Mr. H is saying, it's because we didn't have a qualified woman for president. That's why we're not voting. Mikey said America is ready for a female president, but not a lying one. Okay, Mikey shares the same sentiment. Irabin also said it's not the gender, she was not qualified. Well, okay then. Sisu said, I'm glad he win. I live in the USA. Democrats was taking our votes for granted and they did a lot of damage to the society. By the way, Like as an outsider watching, I've seen how Black people ride for Democrats, and it was just seemed like a genuine love and respect. But now I'm seeing more and more Democrats saying that like they don't want to support that party anymore, and they Black people, they want to support more like the Republicans because Democrats have been letting them down. That's a conversation I hear a lot. um Talking charts, we should not vote because she's a woman. Vote policy and honesty. Trump is honest and say what's on his mind. He will stop the wars and bring peace to the world. That's a stretch, I feel like. He will bring peace to the world. I hope he does, but you have a lot of faith in him. Chibuze said she didn't lose because she's a woman. No, she lost because she was deemed to be incompetent. That's just it. How can someone pay strong attention to abortion, not development? And that argument, by the way, which is mind-boggling personally. Like I am a woman, right? I am a woman, and I deeply care about our rights, but to fight for abortion that much, like for women's right, because they're claiming it's her body, her choice, it's women's right. That's what the argument is. So if that's the case, how come you're not fighting for women the same way when it comes to athletics? I'm seeing transgender women being allowed in those spaces, and they're dominating because they are, I mean, physically stronger. And I'm like, why don't you care about the women? We're here. Like, why not care about us when we're here? You only care about us when we're trying to analyze the baby. Like, I don't, yeah, that argument really confuses me. If you care about for women, care about us across the board. African Global said this time for we Africans to need to wake up. All American military to leave Africa. I think you're saying like the military. We need Africans should say military of like the U.S. or maybe foreign military troops should leave. That's what we've been saying. Um. So let me see. I have so many comments though. Um. CDW said he stacked the Supreme Court with people loyal to him. They voted that anything he does and did while in office, he cannot be charged for, even if it's illegal and against our constitution. No, that's not right. Vertical wars will end. Don't trust Russia. Don't trust any other countries. They do not care for us, Black people, collectively. How about this? Africans focus on African issues. Africans care about Africans. Africans get up and build our own continent. Like Africans should first focus on Africa. And then when it comes to having a relationship, because each African country needs to have a diplomatic relationship, have the priority should be within the continent, just like what Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali are doing. First, have an alliance, come together, support one another, and then when you need something like that, as long as we're living in this world, we're going to need each other. If you need support outside of Africa, now make sure that it's a win-win situation. But first, let's work together, like here. Let's do that. So yeah. Kofo said you can't compare Trump to most politicians. Crystal says no leader of a country will take her serious. All she does is cackle like a hyena. Oh my goodness. Crystal. Kofo said that will not happen. Bale String said he's not a good businessman. He has failed so many times and lies about how much he has. Whew, Miki, there's so many comments, fam. I'm sorry if I skip any of your comments because I see a super chat. I want to address them as well. Camila's family owned more than 1,000 slaves, and Timmy Tampton has Chinese Communist Party ties. I didn't know about her family owning slaves. What? I didn't know about that. Kofo said many Africans are very naive when it comes to Trump. I saw a lot of Africans are actually celebrating his win, by the way. Did you see that? Okay, let me find the super chat so I can. Wow, lots of comments, fam. Lots and lots and lots of comments. Sorry, I'm scrolling. Yes, I found it. It's Dominic. No, Dominic. Yeah, Dominic Loro sent a super chat. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Um, I see Dilo the King sent a super chat. Thank you so much. He said the regime of LGBTQ has come to an end. That's how a lot of people feel about this, by the way, because I remember during Trump's administration, there was no such push on African countries, and he was not twisting any African government's arms to force them to do that. So a lot of people didn't appreciate that because they're like, why are you pushing your culture, your ideology, your beliefs on us? What's that about? Okay, I'm gonna go to the end now. So if I didn't read your comment, you can comment again, okay? Because I went to the end. There's lots of comments. So where do I start? Mo said Kamla's Indian mother and Jamaican dad owned slaves. Phew! For a person that claims to be black, that's not a good look if that's true. Yodon said, "I'm glad I live in California. It is what it is." Oh, Yodan, so you're I'm assuming you're upset that Kamala lost. Aphrodisian said, "Thank you for the work, Siswengil. You're very welcome. Thank you for coming through." So let me just see what points I wanted to make before I forget, because I was just interacting with the comments. I didn't go through what I wanted to say. So, what does it mean for Africa, right? Trump's win. What does it mean? Someone wrote, I vote for Jesus Christ. Politicians are all Satanists. Um, so, okay, what did I want to talk about? So, what does it mean for Africa? Trump's win in 2024 presidential election, right? So let's start from should we start economy? Maybe let's start from military. When it comes to military, as I said earlier, he reduced significantly military troops, the US military troops that were located in African countries. He's reduced them. Okay, that's number one. Compared to what are we comparing to? To Biden administration, because both of these people were in power. And why are we comparing it with Biden administration? Because Kamala Harris was the vice president of the Biden administration. So when it comes to military troops, he reduced it, Trump, during his first term, and that's appreciated from our side, although they like to tell us the reason why their military troops are being sent to our continent and they're here is to help us. We would like to respectfully decline. We would like to respectfully say, it's fine, take your troops, we'll deal with our issues on our own, because we've seen so many things go wrong when it comes to these troops, especially because they have immunity. They were able to get away with so much. Even when people are going to the courts, they're not being helped because they're told, no, you can't do anything. This is a foreign troop. We have immunity. They can't try them even if they do anything they want. Like the British Army we're talking about just a few months ago, there's so many cases brought against them, but they can't be tried because they have immunity. So these foreign troops, they're not only getting away with what they're doing, but they're also being accused of being there and doing some shady stuff instead of protecting the people from why they are there to protect them, right? Let's say rebel groups or whatever they say. At the end of the day, if that rate is not going down and peace is not something that we're seeing, why are they there? What's the point of the foreign troops being there? So people are speculating that these troops being in the continent of Africa is bad. It's not really good because we're not seeing the benefits, but we are seeing a lot of meddling and a lot of like what do you call it, flip, instead of the, let's say, terrorist groups minimizing or reducing in number. There are more and more, and they're like, okay, then why are you here? So at the end of the day, let's handle our own issues in our own way. So that's one thing we believe, because of our history of what Trump did when he was there then, and then now also with what they have been promising the Republicans, what they've been saying about how they will reduce the numbers of foreign troops that are being sent to help with wars in these different countries. So the other thing is about trade and economics, right? Like the engagement between the US and Africa. If you remember, Trump was reducing significantly aid that was being sent to African countries, and instead he was pushing for more of like entrepreneurship or like business. What did I write? Something. Yes, trade. His trade policy. Trump administration prioritized business and entrepreneurship in Africa over traditional aid. This is what he has done. This is not guesswork. This is something he has done. He was reducing aid and he was encouraging business. Although someone said, he's a failed businessman. We can say that, but we can also say that even if he failed in many things, we've seen how he was able to be successful in what he does, whether you like him or not, right? Whether he did it the right way or not. The other thing is human rights. Human rights is a word a lot of Western countries love to use when it comes to African countries, when they want to tell us that they're the most democratic countries and they want to show us how democracy works. Us savages, the Africans, the savages. They come here to tell us how to do it, and when they're not happy with certain governments or politicians, they remove them. They take it upon themselves, because they're the saints of this world. They take it upon themselves to either remove a president or elect a president, or put up a person that they believe that is good for us, right? That's our experience from what we've seen. And even with Biden administration, we've seen how he was banning left and right lawmakers in African countries, because they were refusing to accept what he was pushing when it comes to certain rights, because he's like, how dare you do this, and this is human rights violation. But guess what? Trump was, and I quote, he was generally not focused on promoting human rights or government reforms in Africa. He could care less, because guess what? We're shithole countries. Like, he literally doesn't like us enough for him to be involved. And that, I believe, works out great for us, because we're tired of the meddling. Just leave us alone. That's all we're asking for. Leave us alone. Focus on your country. Focus on the unemployment, the homelessness, the healthcare issues. Just focus on your country and stop funding us, like the military troops to our continent, as well as the politicians that you have in your pockets. Just leave us, is the only thing that we've been asking for. So we're hoping Trump does the exact same thing he was doing during the first term, which is ignore us. Right? Most of us, of course, not everything. As I mentioned earlier, there were moments and times where he meddled and he said stuff, and he's even cut fundings, and we've talked about that when it happened a few years ago. What else? Diplomatic relations. He was not the best with African leaders, because the leaders were annoyed with the way he was treating them. He was just like ignoring them. He was not like other presidents, where they're like almost treat them like pets. Here. So diplomatic relationship was meh. But then again, for me, I would choose that over meddling. What else? Yeah, so basically, these are the points that I wanted to make, like the military cooperation, the aid situation, the diplomatic relationship. Those are the things that I think are very important to look at when we see Trump winning. What does it mean to African countries? But we'll see. Maybe this term, he's not going to be the exact same way, and he's going to change. Who knows? At the end of the day, politicians lie, and that's what they like to do. So those are the things I wanted to talk about. I think I see a super chat. Nene Samuel, thank you so much. I see a super sticker. I appreciate you for this support, and everyone that was here having a conversation and writing your comments. For those of you that felt bad or sad that Kamala didn't win, I'm sorry. Like, I'm pretty sure when you're supporting her, you have your reasons. You want her there because you believe that she's the best fit for America and maybe African countries, according to what you've studied or researched. So I'm sorry that that didn't happen, but right now Trump is what America has, and even the rest of the world. Because let me tell you something, even though this was an American election, the whole world was tuned in. Like, people were watching because they know it's going to impact them one way or the other because of the foreign policy that these governments have, right? When administration change, there's a slight difference. You might say all of them are the same, but there will be slight difference, and it's good to note what those slight differences are. And the world was watching, and people are celebrating that Trump won, and others are very sad that Kamala lost. So that's definitely an interesting election, to say the least. But fam, thank you for watching. Let me see. Let me read a few comments before I go. Word said they hate us but can't function without us. Lol. True. Ozzy said, be careful what you wish for. If Trump sees opportunities to exploit Africa, he will not hesitate, focus less on what he says and more on what he does. That's true. That's why I kept comparing Trump's administration, because he was already a president, versus Biden's administration and what he's been saying. So, yeah, we've seen how he acted before. That's what we're basing it on. But he can change. He's a human being. Anani said, you're doing a great job, Zalalem. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Word said, they're all the same, sis. Yes. Oh, trust me. Like, yeah, we've seen a lot of politicians come and go, and it's so sad. It's so sad because you see the people, how they at first they believe in what they're telling us, and we're so happy. We're so happy to vote for them, and we're betting on them, right? Because we believe what they've told us, and then they go ahead and sell us out. And unfortunately, Africans have been going through this a lot, so we know. Blueprint, he will be busy getting America back on track, and I hope Africa gets itself on track with true leaders. Amen to Africa getting ourselves back on track. Ozzy said, exactly, people are too easily distracted by two-party system. That's true. Yodan said black people were screwed. Like I said, it is what it is. Oh, sorry, Yodan. Because I also saw, I mentioned this during the live when I first joined, that the stats of how many people voted for who, how race-wise. And black people, majority of the black people, I believe 70% of black men and 80% of black women voted for Kamala. And, the number, unfortunately, it's a numbers game, and white people are the majority of the population in the country. So yeah, I understand. Nano Mano said, a certain African president said America smells of money, while another outright rejected capitalism. Africa unite. A certain African president, I didn't, wait, let me do that again, Nano. A certain African president said America smells of money, while another outright rejected capitalism. Africa unite. Well, yes, Africa unite. Pala, Trump's party controls all three branches of government. Now there are no checks and balances on his power. Yeah, I hope he does right by the people. Word, Trump is a masculine, thou so that. No? Trump is a masculine. Maybe you're saying man. Trump is a masculine man, so that's a plus. Zach said, now more than ever, Black people must reconnect to God and then reconnect to Africa to invest in our people and create businesses and institutions all along the supply chain. Yes, Zach, I agree with you. AP said, do you think Trump will support Egypt against Ethiopia to destroy the dam? Well, the first term he showed us he supports Egypt. Yes. The answer is yes, I do believe, unless he changes his mind. I do believe that he supports Egypt for sure. Zach said Black people need to be focused on collective economic empowerment for Black people. We need to control the economies within African countries. I agree. Paris Wood said, please correct the record. Kamla's parentage comes from abuse and assault from slave owners. That's not the same as her family owning slaves. Okay, Paris. Paris is correcting for someone that, who was it? Someone commented that her parents were slave, not parents, her ancestry, like her family owned or owns slaves, and Paris is correcting you and said that's not the case, like it's not the same thing. Charlie Walker said, keep up. XY said, hell with America, who cares? Africa for life. The US is the world's biggest terrorist and the biggest threat to world peace, and Trump wouldn't be any different. Patricia said, we as Black people need to stay focused on the continent and for safe American politics and for safe. We Black people need to stay focused on the continent. I agree with that, Patricia. Ozzy said yes. Zach, more citizens investment programs that African countries need to be created for the diaspora. Yes, I agree with that. Mikey, when will Zimbabwe arrest Mangusto and send him back to Ethiopia for trial? I don't think they will ever do that because they haven't done that for how many years? Even after Mugabe died, people expected the new government to give him up, but they said no. So I guess never, maybe. I don't- Charlie said, keep up the great work, Wengel. Thank you so much. Blueprint said, Trump is a nationalist, putting America first. African leaders need to do the same. Yes. Stop begging the West. Yes. What else did you say? I just lost that. The West needs Africa and Africa should act accordingly. I agree with you. Africa should prioritize Africa the same way Trump will put America first. And he's been open about that. He was not hiding that fact. Zach said, it is all about collective economic empowerment for Black people. Didn't I read this? As Africa goes, so does the plight of Black people all over the world. I agree. Victor said Black people should stop this victim mentality. Trump victory for Africa means no free money, of course, for politicians in the name of AIDS. I am happy that someone like Trump calls it as it is. Yeah, I mean, we should not have a victim mentality for sure, but at the same time, I'm not a believer of erasing history. Some people, when they tell you don't act like a victim, they want you to forget and forgive and move on. No, if you forget about your history, it's going to happen again. There's a reason why we have a memory, like for you to remember where you fell, where you got up, where's the hole. If you don't have that memory of history and you don't know where you've been, it's very hard for you to know where you're going. So, yeah. I'm about to leave, fam, but let me read one few comments. Pure Black said, I'm Black and we know who was better. Don't let them fool you. Dominic said, when are we going to get one currency? Hi, Dominic. I wish I knew. I wish I knew. Um, yeah, Lamin said, hope he won't use Africa as a proxy for his issues with China. Well, that's one thing I forgot I wanted to talk about earlier. He did try to, fight for Africa's attention a little bit because of China, because, China's influence is growing and it irks the Western world's spirit because they know what that means. I know, like at the end of the day, when China is giving you money, they're not asking for nothing. They're just like, you're gonna pay me back, right? But the West, when they give you money, there's always something attached to it. There's always an agenda. There's always like a hidden thing. So obviously, African countries go to China instead of now the Western world, and the Western world doesn't like that. But even with that, I think African leaders should be very careful because you're taking money that you're supposed to pay back. It's not a gift that the Chinese are giving you. They're literally seeing it as an investment in their future. They're like, okay, we'll keep giving them money. I know they need money. Next time we come ask for our money back, we'll get our money back, and then maybe favors. Like they're obviously thinking about themselves. So we should not think it's not free money. Okay, they're not giving you free money. But fam, I need to go. I'll end this with what one African farm said, they wrote, the West need Africa. Africa does not need the West. I agree. I agree with that. With that being said, fam, thank you so much for coming through and for staying this long. I mean, I've been here for how long? I don't even know how long I've been here. Where's the timer? I can't find it. But thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate it. It was a really lovely conversation. Thank you for interacting with me. I'll see you on the next one. I might do another live stream this week because there's a topic that I'm interested to talk about. I'm pretty sure you heard about it. There's a scandal going on in Equatorial Guinea. So yeah, we'll talk about that next. I appreciate you wherever you are. Have a lovely morning, day, evening. I'll see you on the next one. Stay blessed. Bye.